Peace, family. All right, so first off, I hope you guys are having a phenomenal day. If not, know your day is going to get better once your perception gets better. If you are new to my channel, my name is Dina Bryant. I do these inspirational videos. And today's video is probably a little touchy, right? So recently, right, ever since my youngest son started going to school, which has been about 3 years, no, 2 years now, right? And when he first started school, he's 6 years old. So when he first started school, I felt some type of way, right? I told his father that I wanted to homeschool him, and his father was like, giving me a hard time about it because he was like, oh, you're not gonna be consistent, whatever. And if you was gonna homeschool him, then you said you was gonna teach him before, and you didn't teach him when he was younger, right? Now, I told you guys my youngest son is 6 years old, okay? Now, I have 4 children, all right? So, back when the pandemic hit, right? March 2020, well, when the schools had closed, and I started, homeschooling him here, and I was making it fun, right? So my son would be able to, like learning in a sense where as though he could be a creative thinker, right? Now, going back, okay, I remember I had met this passenger while I was doing Lyft, and I wanted to homeschool all my children, except for the real small one, right? My youngest daughter, she's 4, but back then, she was about 2 years old, right? 2 or 1 years old, something like that. So I wanted to pretty much homeschool all my children. I always gave it a thought, but I knew some people would feel like probably I wasn't smart enough for the job or whatever it is. I didn't have no degrees and things of that nature. So I remember one time I had met this passenger while I was doing Lyft, and the passenger that I met, she was like so down to earth, and me, I was talking, and the subject came about schooling, right? And she was telling me that, she schooled her children, and, one of her daughters was feeling like real bad in math. And she was like, well, homeschooling is basically for you to focus on what your child interest is, right? Like do the read and then do the math and stuff like that. But it's mainly what your child is more interested in, right? So that sort of go against like the way we are taught in a public school system, right? Or taught in the school system, because in the school system is generally is for you to not be able to exercise your free thinking, right? And the school system also was created for workers, okay? And I had took some quotes down because I was on the internet, I was researching, and I was, trying to figure out and try to understand like why school was created. And I know school was created for, so basically my whole understanding is, so the rich people, okay, that's in position, whatever, they the ones who put money up and create the laws and the rules in society and everything like that. And basically you are a worker. And so I always felt that I wasn't created just to work, and somebody else that is like the big time CEO, the founder, could just sit back while I work. And I'm not there for my children. I'm not there for certain things because I always got to be at work. So I always felt that way, right? So fast forward, when I had my spiritual awakening, things started opening up for me, right? I started seeing things truly for what they were. We had a whole concept of, the more money that you make, the happier you would be. We also hear the concept of, the more degrees you have, the smarter you are, which I don't believe in none of those things. I don't believe in the more money that you have, the happier you would be. And that is why, so many of us tend to go to school or went to school, because the end result is so I can make more money, right? And you want to make more money so you could buy nicer things, right? And the nicer things you have, you feel like you're going to be happy or whatever it is. So going back to my spirituality and understanding and understanding and understanding that things that we've been presented or things that we've been taught is all a bunch of bullshit, right? It's not true, okay? And I have to say this and throw this in here. And I understood it and I started analyzing my life because as many jobs as I had, right? And I had a few, but as many jobs that I have had, I never felt like I was so happy working, right? It never was, me waking up in the morning and like, yay, I'm going to work and I'm making this money to pay these bills. It always was like, damn, I gotta fucking go to work. Or always was like a stress factor in the sense that I was going against my soul, in the sense where as though I knew I was created to do something bigger and better and grander. And it wasn't for me to just work and slave for someone else, okay? So, it's a quote that I had looked up because I was looking up, and this is another thing. Just because you don't go to school or whatever it is, it does not mean that you can't educate yourself. Because from some of the people that I have watched that created businesses and stuff like that, how they educated themselves by going to the public library. Okay, so we had this whole notion that I got to get into debt, to go to school in order for me to have a good job and things of that nature. My whole thing is my happiness, it matters more than anything, okay? My happiness matters more than anything. And it's not about how much money I have, right? It's more so about how happy I am. And in me being happy, I'm more creative, right? If I'm happy, I'm able to tap into my inner child, right? And I could create freely without, someone saying or me thinking, oh, I got to pay these bills and that bill and stuff like that. I wholeheartedly believe in the universe. And I believe that if you follow your heart, the universe will make a way for you. That's what I believe. That's what I know. That's what I have seen in my life. And it's so funny because this morning, even late last night, I was thinking, because some of you guys know that I had stopped doing even rideshare. And last night I was thinking, I was like, well, I don't have to, maybe I could go back to rideshare, right? And it was coming from at a fear, right? At a scarcity and lack mindset. And then this morning, I always ask the universe to send me a sign, right? Synchronicity signs where so, it can make sense for what I'm doing. It can make sense, the journey that I'm on. It could make sense for the decisions that I'm making. It could just make sense. So I know I may be rambling. This video may be like all over the place, but bear with me, okay? So I felt that way, and I was like, maybe I could go back, but then I started feeling away. I was taking my youngest son to school, and every time I take him to school, it's like this feeling I get, almost as if like I'm going against my soul. The same exact feeling that I would get when I would work on jobs and I would be like, I know I wasn't created just for this. And so it's this feeling that I would get when I'm, dropping him off to school. And then my youngest son, he's 6 years old, so he gives me this whole thing like about being picked up early, him not liking school, and all these different things. And I really, really feel it's important if you having children with someone to have the same exact belief systems, right? Because if one parent is still, into the matrix or is still into, the titles, the accolades, the money, and still into the physical realm, right? And another parent is moving away from the physical realm, it causes conflict, right? It causes conflict. And so, where I'm going with this, and so, I always, have this feeling and stuff like that, like, we wasn't created just for, working for somebody else. Because when you go to school, that's basically the end result. So you could get a good job. It's not, oh, I'm going to school so I can own my own business. It's mainly is mainly you going to school, so you could work for someone else, right? So I'm gonna just mention this person who created school, okay? And I was looking on YouTube trying to see, and even looking on Google to try to see who created the school system. And it was a guy named Horace Mann, right? And the funny thing about Horace Mann is he was born in 1796, grew up in hardships and poverty, and hardly received any schooling. Okay, he educated himself at the public library. So back to what I said about the public library, that a lot of people that I tend to watch, they stop going to school in the eighth grade, right? They stopped going to school. Like one of the people is KRS-One. And one of the things he said was he just couldn't pass this test. He tried to take the test a few times. He couldn't pass the test. And so after he couldn't pass the test, he stopped going to school and he started educating himself. I believe it was in the Bronx Public Library. Okay. So, and it's the same thing with Horace Mann, right? The one who actually created school. I believe he created school. Well, that's what the internet said, right? He created school. He actually educated himself at the public library, right? And then I had also went online and I was watching this YouTube video, and this is a quote. It says, "I don't want a nation of thinkers. I want a nation of workers." And that is from John D. Rockefeller. Okay, so when you think about the whole school system, and if you are a parent, right, especially if you're going through the enlightened or being more enlightened, and you are more being more in tune with yourself, being more in tune, and your pineal gland is opening up, you would start seeing the things that we was taught. It doesn't make sense. And I think in 2020 it was a prime example of the school systems, and how jobs and stuff is not guaranteed, is not secured, all these different things. I believe that 2020, it showed us something, okay? So I really wanted to do this video about the whole concept of school, and also wanted to do a video in the same time of talking about, if you are going to their spiritual awakening, that one, everybody can't go, and then two, some of your belief systems is really going to get challenged, and you're going to see things for exactly what they are, okay? And then it'll be people that is going to give you pushback. They not gonna believe it. Even people that you probably been in a relationship with, people that you even had children with, they not going to want to give up on a belief system, because they are still following this belief system and this matrix. So with that being said, I hope you guys got something from this. I love you guys. Love you, love you, love you. Don't go against your soul, and follow your heart, and the universe will conspire to work in your favor. With that being said, I love you guys.